Boom. There we go.
Let's do it.
I know you said that we should have that that lead in like into it, but I think it's too hype that we can never do that. I think it's too we're ready, man. I know with that 10 seconds, I'm always frantically like for people watching, I'm frantically waiting because I'm trying to share it, and then I'm like, oh, did I get enough time? And then I'm going like, hey man, I'm having a great time. So
I'm dancing, and then I look, and there's like 15 seconds left. I'm like, shit, I forgot to share it. I'm like,
yeah,
oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I gotta get it done, gotta get it done, and then I end up not even being able to do it in time. So I got to start doing it right when I see that, when I see the thing come across on the top of my computer saying you're live on YouTube. Then I know it's kind of everywhere because YouTube's
yep.
usually a couple of seconds behind. But yeah, I hear you, brother. Oh, man,
It's
just problems, right? First world
first world
problems that we
problems.
got here, man.
First
Like
world problems, man.
I tell
I
you,
saw,
it's
you know, what's
unreal.
funny. Talk about first world problems. I saw something so funny. I was like, it was one of my good friends from Toastmasters. He made a post where saying it's like people are easy to complain about like Walmart being self checkout and all these places about self checkout and all that stuff, but they won't complain about AI or Chat GPT like making their days easier, right? So it's like you take the good and the bad, right? And I'm like, you know what?
What's
That
wrong with
is
self
such a
checkout?
I know. It doesn't wait. I don't know if you do the same thing, Dan, but I feel like everything is like the code is always the same for bananas, right? So that flat screen TV, that new coffee maker, when you put in that scan the code, for some reason it always comes up as bananas and it's less than $1. I got to figure that out, you know? So
Yeah, I should probably go shopping with you to try and figure it out as well. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Sales chatter live, at the
yeah,
grocery. There we go.
yeah. like one of those Conan and all the late shows when they go out on the road, right? And they take the crew on the road with them. We'll have to do that. We'll have to
Yeah.
get somebody with a camera and with those little split things, and we'll get the camera going where we can get out on the road. But that's actually what we do need to do. Speaking of that,
Yes.
is we need to get together and do on the road show now that we got the nice weather. Well, let's wait till the haze is gone. Did you
Yeah.
see
Oh
did
God.
you see the Wall Street Journal this morning?
I
New
just see
York
Wall Street Journal,
City and
but
New
I got a lot of
Jersey.
friends. I got a lot of friends in New York and New Jersey, and I just saw like their stories on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. One of our former guests, Kim, she's actually for a big global company in the U.S., and she sent like a couple stories, and I was like, "Holy crap, man!" You know what? I saw a
Looks
funny
like
meme that
Mars.
was well, no, it looks like what movies make Mexico to look like. Like when they do that filter, like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Desperado, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
was like, this is so true. It's crazy, man. Like everybody, please be safe out there. I've heard like even I was talking to DJ this morning. It's even been coming across on his side to like Virginia
yeah,
Beach out there, and
yeah.
it's crazy, man. My eyes are still watering from there.
Mhm.
So I it's everyone be safe, man.
I'm getting tickles in my throat. I'm finding it very difficult to breathe outside, like
Yeah.
for any extended period of times. Like, I mean, I can go outside and stand there. But yesterday I had to do some carrying some stuff back and forth, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like you're instead of your body breathing for you, you have to concentrate on taking a full breath, right? Like, I mean, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I love the smell because I love
Me too.
campfires. Like I just and I know it sounds horrible,
Marshmallows
but
and
I love the marshmallows. All
s'mores, I think no,
s'mores.
I love that, and shout out to the N95 masks making a big comeback, like you thought
Yeah,
they were gone for COVID, but they're back. But it's something for me that I thought about. I feel so bad for all like the workers, like people are building houses right outside our window. I feel especially bad for the wildlife. You got
yeah.
like it's just depressing. But you know what? Let's get into what we wanted to kind of talk about today. Let's hit that video. This is Sales Chatter, Logistics Podcast, where we aim to help 10,000 reps hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohamed. With me is Dan O'Mac, and let's hit into our video.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
We got Mark coming in saying first on, first on.
First
Look at
on,
that.
first on. I love to see those on different videos. So shout out to Mark. Hopefully everything's going good in Calgary. Him and the TPZ team, weather-wise, I know you guys are crushing it sales-wise. So bringing a lot of transparency and brought a lot of value to our episode yesterday. So Dano, you and I
Good
have had
boy.
an amazing week, man. This has been what are you know what? Let's start for a little bit different because I think it's cool. What's been your thoughts, man? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I feel like we've had bangers, we've had great perspectives. What are your thoughts in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, I think we've always been right along that line, because I do believe wholly that people that are dedicated to this industry have the same thought process, right? They might have different ways of getting it, but they have the same thought process. When Greg said, you know, how are you looking to make my business better? I was like, wow. Okay. And immediately I'm like, how can I use that in part of my sales? As opposed to I focus on your image, credibility, and brand. I focus on your image, credibility, and brand to help you make your business better, right? Um, that kind of thing. And then Rico, when he came in and he's like, like go in with your value, not necessarily price. And I wrote a whole bunch of things down here, right? Get informed about everything. Like this is a business, it's not a job, a career, not a job, right? And it's like you start stacking these, know your worth, right? Like Rico said it, know your worth. And we've said, know your worth. And you start stacking what we said on Monday with what Greg said on Tuesday with what Rico said yesterday. And it's like it all comes down to this and it all funnels into the idea of you're worth something. Bring that to the forefront. How does that worth help a customer? And know that value you bring and bring the value. So if you just say those 5 things, you got your $1 million formula, right?
Mhm.
And then now today, with the mindset piece of it and the personal development piece of it, because name of the show is how to attract what you really want. The reality is most of us, I have to fight it all the time. When somebody says, what do you want? We tend to say what we don't want.
Yep. Yep.
And it's how do you truly attract what you really want? Like I don't know about you, Ryan, but I know for the first probably 10 years of my career, I didn't believe I was worth anything, like
Mhm.
anything at all. I didn't. If you were to say to me, what is your value? What do you bring to the table? I'm like, I don't know. I pick up and deliver. Like but that's like a given. Well, I update people by 9 a.m. That's a given. Like it's like, oh yeah, but I'm all over the customs. So that's a given. Like what
Yeah.
is your real value? And more along a personal level, right? That's where the whole image, credibility, and brand thing came around because we all care about our image, our credibility, our brand, and our organization. We all do. It's not an ego thing. We just care. When we go to our boss and say, we'd really like to do this because of this, we want our boss to say, bingo, because you're always on. We don't want them to
Yeah.
second guess and say, well, you don't produce, you don't do this. Every decision you make is a wrong decision. It tends to backfire in your face. Like that would just melt us.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely blown away. And belief is irresistible.
Yep.
When Rico said that, yeah. And you know what I did yesterday? I went, never split
Greg
the
said that.
difference.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg
Yeah.
said that, yeah.
Yeah. He said,
Never split
shoe
the
dog, by
difference.
the way.
Yeah, that's it. Shoe dog. Yes, that's right.
Shoe
Yes.
dog. And so,
I went and got those 2 books that Rico talked about yesterday, and I started
oh yeah,
putting
you
them to
got.
them already.
Oh, you really got it. Yeah, Never Split the Difference. Chris Voss is an amazing book, and for me, I just think like everybody's brought. How awesome is Rico, man? Like I love Greg. I love bringing on guests here that I've never seen or heard of before, and just hearing them. Rico's awesome, man. You got to
Yeah.
check out his show every Tuesday. But last week, Dan, you challenged us. I would say, yeah, let's say us, let's reflect on what we talked about last week, the videos we showed last week. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll give us maybe a couple seconds or something like that, just to reflect on what those 2 videos last week looked like in our life this past week, and then we'll head into our new videos this week, and then we'll go over the thoughts. So, Daniel, just to refresh your mind, we did the Mark Cuban video last week, and we did the Mel Robbins video last week. What are your thoughts? Has that run through your mind at all? And be transparent
Yeah,
and honest and open, even if it hasn't.
it has. You know, the first thing, it's actually interesting, Ryan. And the first thing when we did the challenge and when we got off air last Thursday is I said, I've been sick, so I haven't been able to outwork anyone. And I stopped and I went, wow, I just created another excuse. And I pulled the C card in my excuse. And then I started thinking. And I actually made a call to a couple of people that I worked with while I was sick. And I said, would you think that? And I said, I'm just trying to clarify my own memory because all the trauma and everything, I forget pieces of it. And the colleagues that I called, they were like, "Are you kidding me? Like you at one point you could barely talk, you could barely breathe, and you're like typing and you're coughing and you're hacking up, but you're still on conference calls at 4 a.m. You're still doing that. Like I overworked while I was sick in building what we're going to bring to the market shortly. Um, and I just kept thinking in my head, did I really outwork the competition? And I outworked any competition that would have been in my position. And it's funny because mentally, I don't see it. Mentally, I'm like, no, I could have done better because I'm comparing myself to when I was 100%, right? And which gave me such a fire this week, brother, and such a fire on the weekend. And I'm all over it now. Like I'm out working all the time. And when I say outworking, meaning anyone in that's in my space.
Yeah.
Um, I'm educating. I realized I lapsed on my education. I lapsed on reading. I started to educate myself in different areas. So I've been doing a lot of educating on welding and that kind of stuff, which is great because I want to start fabricating things and I have things around here I'm fixing and building. So I need to understand how metal melts to metal. But I'm like, I'm not going to be a welder. Welding's not my career. So what the hell am I doing? And so I started re-educating myself since Friday morning and listening to books while I'm working and listening, reading books before I go to bed and watching videos that expand my mind.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the vibration, the energy is just completely different, brother. Yeah, I love weeks that wake me the hell up and just like
Yeah.
slam me dead square in my forehead and say, "Wake the fuck up and get going, man."
Those are awesome, man. And I could, well, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge you for doing that, understanding that, hey, comparison is the theft of joy, and you're not compare yourself like you said,
Whoa, say that
able-bodied.
again.
Oh, comparison is the theft of joy, and
Wow.
there we go.
Oh, dude.
So I think that's everybody needs to relate that, right? So it doesn't matter in whatever you're kind of doing in life. And I think for me, what I've kind of the quote with the let go with Mel Robbins last week, that's really helped me a lot. It's for me, I've been like, if things are not going the way that it needs to be, or if something cancels or something doesn't go according to plan, let it be. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's given me so much happiness from that. Even though like my wife was away, she just came back yesterday, and understanding like, hey, it was tough to manage the house. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I did
Yeah.
it with a smile and I did everything like that. But like I was like, you know what? If I don't show up, no one's gonna show up for me. So that was the number one thing, right? I didn't have anybody to rely on, and I thought about my business, and I started reading a lot more, just like you kind of said, and I had my first music gig, like I was telling you on Saturday. I'm a musician. People don't know that, but like I've been playing for about 17, 18 years, and then I got like I started. So I was approached a couple of weeks. I want to preface. I was approached a couple of weeks that somebody's going to a certain school to learn how to play the same instrument I play, and they're not liking that, and they're wondering if I would start teaching their kids. And for me, I didn't do that maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. I stopped that. I kind of been really selfish with my music. I've kind of either only wanted to play when I wanted to play. I wasn't like really sharing out my talent and stuff like that. And then I said yes, and that's given me fulfillment. And I would say when we're talking about the Mark Cuban, like that outworking, and I'm like, I always kind of just like you, Dan. I'm like, I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough to be a teacher. I'm not like I'm nowhere near that. And then I'll watch some of my videos I have on YouTube, and I'm like, I'm pretty good. Like why would I want to gatekeep this? So I think for
Yeah.
myself, like one of the biggest things I'm realizing right now that instead of let go, let it be, I'm letting things come to me and like how I react to it. So I've been playing my music a lot bit more, even with our stuff that we're working on personally. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna really dive into this. I'm really like putting in the work from there. And even with like logistics and things like that, I'm like kind of building myself up so that for me, guys, everyone who's watching right now, like the dream is to have that like multiple streams of income, not depend on
MSI,
one
baby.
thing. Yeah, baby. So it's really just to try to get those. And just kind of like I wanted to put this clip, but it wasn't relevant to what we were going to talk about today. So maybe I'll do another time. But 50 Cent, he was the rapper. somebody interviewed him, and he does like movies and TV shows now, right? Like Power and all that stuff. The question they asked him, Dan, was that, hey, was music money, what's better, music money or TV money? And he said TV money will always be more money because that's the only money when you make when you're sleeping. He said when he was on music money, if he didn't go do a tour or he didn't do a concert, he wasn't getting paid. If he didn't do a CD, he wasn't getting paid. He says, movie money, TV money is out there. I want everybody to kind of figure that out. And I think that's really my big takeaways. I think for me to outwork everybody, I think it's just really important. You go to your limits and you find out your limits, and I want people to say, like, when we think outwork, it's not like to come in here and hustle culture, hustle culture. If you did 20 calls yesterday, do 25 today. If you did like 5 emails yesterday, do 15 emails, consistently, consistently put yourself at a point. Dan, you were big into bodybuilding, and you know this for a fact. When you're building volume, when it comes to like weightlifting, you go with 5 pounds and then your body adjusts to it. Okay. And then the next week you're like, okay, let me add another 5 pounds. Your body adjusts to that. It's the same thing with running. You run 1 kilometer, your body adjusts to 1 kilometer, then you go 1.5, things like. Sorry for that little bit of a rant, but I think like that's just really
It's
important from
valid,
there.
valid. And I would even say, Ryan, um, you did 20 calls yesterday. Practice, figure out where you lost the calls and do 20 better calls today. Like, even if you don't have time to do 25, just every day be better at what you're doing. And that's working. And that's what Mark Cuban said. Like, know the most you can know about your industry. Rico said it yesterday. Like, it's amazing how these amazing people, no matter what position they are, right? Like, if you look at, Mark Cuban, billionaire, owns NBA teams. Rico, very successful, owns his own company.
Yep.
But the message is the same. Know about your industry, outwork everybody. Like, it's the same message. It's coming from two different people at two different places in life that chose to do two different things. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all that. And you know what? You just said it. Like, hell, even if you can only get 15 calls in today because something's happening, make them the 15 best calls you can make them because you practice. And you know what? If you go to saleschatterlive.com and download the actual tool that we have there, where you write your question, you write down the customer's answer, you write down what you said, and then at nighttime, read what you said and said, how can I make that better to make the conversation flow better, right? That's working. That's outworking the competition. The competition might just go into work because, I mean, Ryan, let's face it, our business, there's golden hours.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like Jeb Blood says, it's not like a SaaS industry or sales training industry that's all online where, while I sleep, I can market to people in Asia. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work like that. We are
Monday
making
to Friday.
phone calls at the Monday to Friday kind of 9 to 5 kind of thing. And not even 9 to 5, because after 4 o'clock, nobody really wants to talk to you. But, it's like we have these golden hours. So on the off hours, work to produce better output on the golden hours, better results, right? Like, I look at a lot of this like real estate, brother. In real estate, you can sell $100,000 houses or $5 million houses. If you sell 2 houses a month at 100,000 or 2 houses a month at 5 million, you're a millionaire way before selling the $5 million homes.
Yep.
Right? What's the difference? It's 2 homes. If you have a marketing system, if you have a sales system that you're consistently getting better at and consistently working towards, I'd much rather sell 2 homes at 5 million.
Easily.
Personally.
And I love that you said real estate, Dan, because everyone, I want to talk about logistics, and we'll get into our clips right after this. But when people talk about logistics and it's like, oh, rates are down or it's so saturated, everyone always complains about real estate being saturated. And then you see, I forget the stat, but we should pull this up. I feel like there's hundreds of new real estate agents popping up every single day. They have that belief system in them. People talk about makeup artists and things like that. I know you would know that about, like, my wife was like for weddings and stuff like that. There's hundreds, there's millions of them. And there's people who are just owning their craft and making that possible. So don't worry about the others, outwork the others. And sometimes you got to look in the mirror, man. Maybe you got to outwork yourself. Outwork the 6 month ago Dan, outwork the year ago Ryan. So from there. So let's hop into our clips. I think the what we're kind of talking about, how do you track what you actually want? I forgot to label these, so I'm just gonna play them, and whichever one plays, they play.
Done. Let's do it, brother.
If you focus, whatever you're doing right now, it doesn't matter what it is. How simple an act you're doing right now, it doesn't matter. If you're absolutely devoted to that you're doing right now, depending upon various aspects, things will unfold. Because if a human being stays focused on something, inevitably it'll yield. How can it not yield? The universe will yield to you if you're focused.
I love him.
Sadhguru, that's
I
yeah,
love
he's
him.
he's awesome. He's awesome. If everybody doesn't know, he's I don't know what to call him, but like he's more of kind of like inspirational kind of guru in India, and I love his real world thinking. So everybody doesn't know, check out his stuff on YouTube, his Instagram, and things like that. And he gives that. I love religion, and I always kind of have to preface this not getting religious, but I've accepted the fact that this is who I am. I'm a God fearing man at the end of the day, and I don't need to lower my voice to make that known. And the things that Sadhguru says, and coming back to the clip here, we're talking about asking for what you want from the universe. And Dan, you mentioned earlier in this episode that whenever somebody asks us what we want, it's usually truly not what we want, right? It's like I'll be completely transparent when I say this. It's like when somebody takes me out to lunch or takes me out to dinner, and you're like, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" You're not gonna. Sometimes you're looking at the price because you don't want to like be price conscious, or you don't want to look like a slob when you really want that sloppy Joe, but you're like, "I'll just get the club sandwich or chicken Caesar salad," And I think it's just really important that you understand that his message in that it's funny how our conversations lead into these videos, because this is exactly what he says. You put in that work, you put in that 15 better calls that you've learned from, universe will yield to you. It will help you out with that. And there's been so many times, there's never been a time that I don't want to die not knowing what I'm capable of. I don't want to know what my potential was. I want to basically go with that. So Dan, what are your thoughts on Sadhguru's little bit of wisdom here?
I think he's hit the nail on the head, as he does in pretty much every single video I've ever seen of him. It's that focus, it's that dedication that really helps you win, right? If it is I guess I'll do it. Maybe I'll give it a shot. Sure, why not? Let's try it. It most likely won't work. I've watched so many sales reps come into this industry, and it's like, I had one guy who was a metallurgist, went to school for metallurgy. So what are you doing in logistics? Because I'm just trying to pay off my student loans. And I watched him fail. Another lady came in. She was big and she wanted to have her own bakery. I said, so what are you doing here? She said, oh, I just need a job until I find one in a bakery. She failed. Like you have to be focused. You have to be dedicated. This is what separates the people that truly succeed in life and the people that end up hating what they do, I believe, is that focus and focusing on it. And because here's the thing, in order to truly focus on it, you have to love it.
Yes.
Right? Like, think about it. We don't put any emphasis on things we don't want to do. I'll give you a perfect example. My garage is typically a disaster 99% of the time. But when it's time for the snowmobiles to be stored or for wintertime, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's my focus because I need it cleaned up. So we'll do it. So it becomes a priority when it becomes a priority. And we focus on it, right? How many of you are doing your taxes every month of the year to prepare for the end of the year? No one. Like, no one. Even in business, I put all my stuff in an envelope and I just give it to my accountant and they do it. I don't focus on it till the end of the year. Then I'm like, okay, do I have everything in line? What about this? What about that? Do you have? Then all of a sudden it becomes a focus for like 10 hours and my taxes are done.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't need that 10 hours if I spent 30 minutes a month just doing it. Like this is the thing, right? Like it's in us. We wake up every day and maybe we're not having a good day today, so we don't focus. But you know what? Put on a video, put on something to change that mindset and focus. I still remember this like it was yesterday. I was telling DJ one day, I was having a really bad day. And he says, here, dude, watch this video. And I think you were part of that chat too, Ryan. He says, watch this video. And it was like a David Goggins video when he was running around New York when it was like dead. And like 5 minutes into the video, I'm like, totally changed my entire like direction and everything came in line and I got focused again. but it's like focus breeds. It breeds distraction. Non-focus breeds distraction. It breeds like lack of confidence. It's just what it is. I don't even know how
Yeah.
to explain it.
No, it just like, for me, there's a consistent formula, focus plus time equals success, and you do it. And the thing is, like Alex Hormozy talks about this all the time, is like, do the boring things very often, and he said something, he actually came out with a video vlog yesterday, something that I take away was that he's done his podcast. He's on his 5th year of his podcast, and now it's blowing up. And he actually said, and he had some clips of his like original podcast. And he was like, some of the content that he's doing now is exactly the same that he did back then. So the message didn't change. He got better cameras. He got people to edit it. He got a little bit like, people are reading his books and things like that. But, sometimes you got to realize, you stay consistent, like us with Sales Chatter, we never change our views on things. Well, people will talk about different things, but it's just like, we're not going to come next week and be like, hey, here's 10 top skills to get brand new customers. So I thought that video was awesome. Let's hop into your video.
Hold on. Before we hop into the video.
Yeah.
You brought this up now, so now we're going to go. So here's the thing, all of you salespeople. You never know what can happen in the background. Let me give you an example, okay? So we're on Sales Chatter. We go live every day, Monday to Friday. We give you guys every tool, strategy, and technique to make $1 million GP and over. Right? We some days have 20 comments. We some days have 4 comments. We some days, Ryan and I hang up and go, we have no idea who's watching because all the stats are so skewed. We got stats yesterday that are solid. Did you know that Sales Chatter is in over 6 different continents, 77 different countries? Listen to Sales Chatter podcast. Like, dude, 6 continents across the world in 77 different countries and territories. Listen to Sales Chatter. People are listening, brother. And they're loving it. I mean, when we saw that, I was like, I was on cloud 9. I was like, oh my gosh, I never knew we were helping so many people. 6 continents. Huge global presence for Sales Chatter. And most people think we're just 2 guys going live on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this is crazy. And it's because of the focus. We might talk about the same thing 15 different ways, but sooner or later, that shit's going to click. Mm-hmm. And when it does, your life will change. I guarantee you, just as sure as it's going to get dark tonight. For sure. So I had to share that, Ryan, because damn, that feels good, brother.
Mr. Whoa. Worldwide, I should have played a Pitbull song, but let's hop into our clip. Yeah, 6 continents, baby. We're worldwide.
Yeah.
Attracting what you actually want. I think James Allen put it very well in his little book, As a Man Thinketh. He said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Now think about that. If you want to attract what you want, you've got to see yourself already with it. You've got to understand that you've already got it. First of all, clearly understand this. Nothing is created or destroyed. That means everything's already here. If not in one state, certainly in another. Where did the iPhone come from? The iPhone came from a series of ideas that individuals entertained in their mind. And they kept holding the idea until the stuff came to them that enabled them to build the phone. The stuff had already been here. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science, all theology teach that. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything that is already here. Our problem is we've got to wait until we see it outside before we believe we've got it. Start dealing with the non-physical world, with the invisible world, with the world that you can't see through these little peepers that you've got here we call eyes. Start to see yourself mentally. You've been given the faculties to do that. Use your imagination. See yourself already in possession of the good you desire. That will flip your mind onto a specific frequency, and you do think on frequencies. It's on that frequency that good you desire is going to start coming toward you, and you will start moving toward it. If you want to attract what you actually want, you've got to see yourself now already with it. And know it's only a period of time until you moving toward it and it moving toward you, and you become one with it. That is how it's done. James Allen was right. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. You've got to become what you want. You've got to realize that the minute you hold your mind in harmony with the good you want, then you've already got it. It's only a period of time till it manifests in physical form. You've got it intellectually, and you can talk to somebody about it. You've got it emotionally, you can share your feelings. It's only a period of time till it moves into form. That's called the perpetual transmutation of energy. That is a law, the first law of the universe. Do it. See yourself with what you want. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my guru. He was the first big guy I ever listened to. I went to his You Were Born Rich conference in Toronto. I had the honor of sharing a meal with him at his home, honor of meeting him, honor of working with some of his colleagues. Just an amazing, amazing man. Rest in peace, Bob. Ryan, I'm so happy and grateful now that is so in line with everything. It's not. And there was another video that he said where it's like, I really want this when I get this.
Yeah.
I want this.
I'll be
but
happy
I
when.
have to do this first. And it's not. It's seeing yourself in possession of it. It's funny. I was just telling you about the new Arnold series on Netflix. And the first thing he says is, I saw myself as Mr. Olympia. I saw myself. And he goes, and that vision is everything. That goal, that vision. For all of you listening, if you can't see yourself making $1 million a year, you will never make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Read the book Psycho-Cybernetics. Our self-image is everything. And when we see those things happening, when we see us already in possession of that we want, the world, the universe will form to you getting it. 1,000%.
There we go. So a couple things came up in that video watching it, and I watched it. I like to watch your clips live, just so I can. I don't like to have that preconceived notions of my thoughts and stuff like that. And a lot of what he said in that video relates to the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of our main texts in Hinduism, and we talk about that. And I'll preface it by saying this: it's basically this warrior Arjuna he was at the battlefield. He was actually looking across, and it was all his uncles and his cousins. He was basically going to fight against them. And basically God was his chariot driver, and he stopped. He put down his bow and arrow, and he said, I'm not going to fight. And then the Bhagavad Gita came through that, and he's talking about energy doesn't die, and that's what we believe in Hinduism with reincarnation, things like that. Nothing's created and nothing dies. It's just energy. It just transfers. So if somebody right now is having, it's like when you look at a lottery winner, Dan, and everyone's like, oh my God, they won the lottery, they're going to have an amazing life. But then you see that energy, that abundance to them got switched over to them, and what do they do with it? Right? Some of them are not successful. Some of them become broke within a year. I forget. I think there's a TV show, something like that, right? Regarding that. But then when he's talking about
89%, or even in the mid 90s, of people are broke within a year or two of winning lotteries.
So then it becomes a blessing and a curse, right? You got your family members coming, bugging you for money, people seeing you and then sending you letters. But just coming back to the topic here, where he says envision yourself. And I couldn't agree more. If you don't envision yourself being a $1 million winner, or not winner, a $1 million owner, or having that nice house or having that pool. And it's just not materialistic things, for me, I envision myself with the dog sanctuary and giving back and with my time and things like that. And it's not, I think the part that I really like is that, you envision it, but it's just not going to come to you by just envisioning it. You actually got to, and we're talking about outworking and stuff like that, but you got to figure out the daily steps, the monthly steps, the yearly steps that are going to get there for you, because you could be at the 99th step. God's gonna bring you up that step, that last step. So you got to kind of figure it out. So Bob Proctor, great.
And also God will bring you down a step if you haven't learned the lesson to get up to the step. Right.
Well, you and I talked about this on our show, the Logistics Mug Show, about you and your cancer, right? What was the lesson learned? I love you to death and things like that. And I'm sorry if it's a little too personal, but it's just okay, you had to go through that, right? That was your lesson. That's nobody envisions themselves sickly, right? So you had to go through that, and you learned your lessons through that. And now your perspective, I would hope, is a lot changed, right? As opposed to being that person before. It's just you just never know what now you're envisioning yourself. Okay, before it used to be money, our bills are paid, all that stuff. Now it's my health, I want to be healthy.
My health, my wife, love, my family. And you know what, Ryan? I'm glad I got cancer
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
needed to learn that lesson. And then as tough as it is, even now, you know, go back. Comparison is the theft of joy. I'm having troubles because I'm comparing everything I do now to when I wasn't sick. And I
Yeah.
can't do that. I just had this conversation with my mom 2 days ago. I said,
Mm.
Mom, like, some days I'm just frustrated and I'm entitled to that, but I give myself a time period. I said, okay, baby, be frustrated for the next 2 hours and that's enough. Then you get off your
Yeah.
ass and you get things done. And I do it and I allow myself to do it. On the weekend, I slept till 11 o'clock. I had a lot of things to do, and I just said, "No, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. I'm sleeping till 11." And I slept till 11. I got up and I said, "Okay, now you've done that yourself. Get up and get moving."
Yeah.
And and then I ended up working until 1 o'clock in the morning, like like outside doing what I could do. And then I came in, did a few things here, and got some things organized, did my journal and everything because I missed it in the morning because I slept till 11. But it's like it's we as humans, the universe is always working. I believe wholeheartedly the universe wants us to succeed.
Yeah.
It wants us to have abundance in many different forms, not just monetary, abundance in many different forms. And I was abundant monetary, but I did not understand the full depth of real love. And when I got sick, I understood the depth of someone when they unconditionally love you. And that was my wife. And I understood more about my children and how they process than I ever have in my life. And they're 23 and 21.
23,
So it's not like I haven't been around them for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And it's and it's heart wrenching because I didn't know that, but I think I had to live through that in order to fully understand it. And the second thing, Ryan, is taste. Food. I respect food. I respect taste because I couldn't eat for over 10 months. Over 10 months, I didn't put a single piece of food in my mouth. It was all through a tube. And then I had to learn how to eat again. For 45 years, this thing flapped nonstop. And I forgot how to swallow in 10 months. So you know what? Like, it really put a ton in perspective. And I believe wholeheartedly, I had to live through that in order to become the person I am today. I'm not the same person I was a year ago.
No, as you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. And I think too. I think like we talked about this on our show specifically was that like being able to not have everything, like do everything. Like it was always done in you. Like Jeff and I did the show, so we told you to basically f off until you got healthy. So you stayed away, and then even with the stuff that we're working on, it's like Dan, stay away. Like if let you don't need to be in control of everything. It's God's timing, not your timing. And coming back to like our main theme that we talk about, asking your customer for more money. With this personal development day, it's like you're asking the universe specifically for not necessarily the more money, but what you actually truly want in life. And those things are going to make your conversations more, because when you ask the universe and then you go into your sales calls, you go into your emails and things like that, and you're talking to prospects on the phone, you're talking to your customers, you're going to realize that they have things that they want as well. So that's where your alignment comes in completely, right? Because like I talk to my customers like, hey, I really want to provide for my family. Hey, I really want to provide for my family. How can we both get there? And that's where the true congruency of life in general kind of works. And that's what our aim was. Just I know for the Monday we talked about asking for more money. We had Greg Amazing from his shipper side yesterday, Rico. But today's like just in general, that personal development in life, asking for more. And it's just not asking the universe as well, it's asking people. Like, hey, can you help me with this? Don't be afraid to do that, but understand too, like if you're gonna ask, make sure you give 10 times more than you ask. So if it's a situation that, hey, I really need help with a prospecting list or something like that, it was like, okay, well, I'm good at this certain area. How can I help you with this? Like like maybe I'm good at video editing and I see you have a podcast or something like that, or somebody who finds value from this show. we ask. There's no price to pay on the show. All we ask is, hey, maybe you can share this with a friend or somebody that you can feel like they can bring value to, and there's no cost. Like we do this here, so I think it's amazing, honestly. So Dano, final thoughts, and remember, we're gonna do our final thoughts for kind of like the clips, but we're gonna do what next week, the reflection on what that week was like with these 2 clips.
Yes. So final thoughts is, I think, Ryan, you've dropped unbelievable amounts of gold nuggets today. Like, I don't know if you've realized how much that you like. I'm blown away. And not because I don't know you could drop these nuggets. It's awesome to hear. Where you said, I'm trying to provide for my family. So's the traffic manager. Wow, we are on the same path. Like, just understand, everybody you deal with is human. We're all after the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, mine and my wife's word is harmony in life. For me, that sums everything up. It's joy, peace, energy, abundance, health, harmony. And we're all after the same thing. Don't sell freight. Like, I think if anything this week, the underlining message is don't sell freight. How are you going to better my organization? How easy it is to do business with you. Build your business around your life. It's not just a job, it's a business. Stop bringing money, bring value first. Like it's, you know what I mean? If we go through all the little things that we're talking about in all of this, from what I wrote down anyways, it's insane. It's insane. It's just, like, none of it has to do with freight. I don't think Greg once talked about freight.
And that's what I said. If you're a true high performer, I always tell this to people. It's not that I'm trying to play in the universe, but if logistics wasn't for me, I know I'd make a killing in SaaS. I'd make a killing in real estate. I do. Like, it's those interpersonal skills that's what a top pro is, right? And, I think that's amazing kind of see, when you're kind of just talking freight, you're talking race and stuff like that. Kudos, man. You're going to be in the logistics industry for a very long time. You're not going to you're kind of going to be in like your basement or your office or something like that. And, you're going to be wishing you can get into the game or actually provide value to somebody. Right. And just make sure you're on the right hand side of life, not on the left hand side. So from there. So I think it's really amazing to say that. So we want to thank everyone for coming out today. Tomorrow, we got our amazing Anthony, who will be joining us on Fun Day Friday, the big winner of last week. So we're looking forward to hearing him, see if he's got into Inception yet, see if he's playing around with it.
He sent me a text. He sent me a chat. He's got into it. Good for him. I'm excited
to hear
what he thinks.
Yeah, it's going to change your life, brother. So we're excited to have him come on and join us. And, tomorrow what we're doing is that Funny Friday, we'll have themed questions around asking for more money, just in general. We're asking for different things, and then we'll filter that in. So this is Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we aim to help 10,000 reps hit $1 million GP. We will be hitting the replay again at 3 p.m. on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And with that being said, Dano, please take us home with some amazing stuff.
Yes, sir. 77 different countries. 6 continents, Sales Chatter. I just can't. That is awesome. Hey, listen, believe in what you're doing. Believe in your mission and see yourself achieving it, and then it'll come. If you guys haven't already, head over to YouTube and subscribe. Hit the bell. Hit the follow icon. You'll get notified when we go live every single time because Mr. Rude's got the good kind of stuff to let you know. And we will see you tomorrow for Fun Day Friday.
Take care, everybody.